It was the late Tip O'Neill who once said all politics is local, and that's exactly how a water war is playing out over wake surfing. Fox 6 investigator Brian Paulson joining us in the studio with the latest on a controversy that has lake lovers across Wisconsin bitterly divided. Brian?
Hey, Ted, we are, nearly halfway through summer now? By now, many expected state lawmakers would have taken action. Instead, wake surfing critics are making waves of their own, one small town at a time. Now the water sports industry is trying to fight back in court. To surf the ocean, all you need is a wave. To surf in Wisconsin, you have to create one.
You have to have the weight to sink it down, and then you get the best wave.
Wake boats are power boats specially designed to make waves big enough to surf without a rope.
It's a lot of fun.
But those manufactured waves have churned up a conflict.
It almost flipped my boat.
That is dividing small towns.
Emotions are high.
And lake communities across Wisconsin.
Pitting neighbors against neighbors.
And we can't be targeting a specific boat just because we don't like that boat.
Let's get this ordinance passed before our lake is truly destroyed.
For some, wake surfing poses an existential threat to the health of Wisconsin's 16,000 inland lakes. But for Chris Marion, it's all he has left.
I knew that I wanted to get back on the water.
Marion was a member of the Chain Skimmers water ski team in Conover until 2017, when a freak accident nearly killed him.
Yeah, I kind of caught a toe, as they say in the barefoot community, and aggressively fell forward.
His chin fell directly into the ski rope's handle at 43 miles per hour, causing an internal decapitation.
It literally ripped my head off of my spine.
Miraculously, 8 cervical screws, and 9 months later, Marion was back on the water. Only this time, he wasn't skiing.
I was able to get back behind the boat and wake surf.
The retired Merrill firefighter says he can't risk another wipeout at high speed, but he can wake surf, a low-speed, low-impact sport.
Not being able to do that and not being able to get behind the boat, to me, would be devastating.
The only sport he can do is wake surfing.
Bill Banholzer is a professor of chemical engineering with expertise in fluid mechanics.
I just don't think you take people's rights away unless you've got a compelling case, and the science does not support these claims.
Critics say the larger, more powerful waves produced by wake boats damage shorelines. The downward propulsion systems scour lake bottoms, and the onboard ballast tanks transfer invasive species from lake to lake. But Banholzer says it's all speculation without proof.
I think if you have a predominance of people that hate wake boats, it doesn't matter what the science says.
You don't need a physics PhD to understand what's happening here.
Scott Rolfe says lake users just get it.
Everybody who fishes, kayaks, sails, boats, swims, owns property, has a pier or dock, they get this issue real easily, experientially.
He is with Lakes at Stake, one of a coalition of 80 Wisconsin organizations pushing for local ordinances to restrict wake-enhanced boating.
Emotions are going to run high. We understand that.
In May, a standing room-only crowd packed a meeting in the town of Whitewater, roughly half in favor of a wake boat ban.
The waves are wrecking our shoreline.
Really disturbing that lake bottom.
It's a violation of the principle that our lakes belong to everyone.
Half against one.
Wake surfing draws families to our lake and directly supports local businesses.
It's not just fun, but it's about fairness.
This is not science. It's selective data to validate a predetermined outcome.
Home to Whitewater and Rice Lakes, the town of Whitewater is just the latest among a fast-growing list of small communities considering or approving restrictions on wake-enhanced boating.
I find this to be an incredibly inclusive, healthy activity to do with my family.
The problem is we don't have a very big lake.
State lawmakers tried to tackle the issue last year, but a pair of bills, one favored by each side, failed to advance. And so far this year,
stalemate. It's really stalemate.
Senate Majority Leader Mary Felskowski has held public listening sessions and met privately with lobbyists for both sides. But 6 months into the new legislative session, no new bill has surfaced.
And I think that there is a strong division within the Republican caucus over what to do on this.
Rolfe says they're not waiting for Madison to act.
Wisconsin has local control.
Under Wisconsin's so-called public trust doctrine, the state is responsible for protecting all navigable waters. But state law gives local governments the power to create specific rules on specific lakes. From 2009 to 2023, 15 Wisconsin cities and towns passed local ordinances restricting artificial wakes. Last year, 21 more were approved, and so far this year, another 18. That's now 54 communities and more than 400 Wisconsin lakes where wake surfing is restricted or banned.
The wakeboat manufacturers right now are really on their heels.
And there are potentially dozens more on the way.
The real problem is the bans are not based on scientific facts. They're based on prejudices or bias or exaggerated claims.
Now, wakeboat owners from Texas and Florida are taking the conflict to court.
I think everybody involved in this effort knew there was going to be a legal challenge.
Millionaire and Republican Party donor Chad McKeever of Texas is one of 3 plaintiffs who own property on Birch Island Lake in far northwestern Wisconsin. In May, they sued the town of Scott, calling its recent ban on artificial wake enhancement unconstitutionally vague and a violation of the public trust doctrine.
Water is a public trust. It belongs to all of us.
Rolfe says Birch Island Lake, with a maximum depth of 13 feet, is a prime example.
That you can't wake surf on every lake in Wisconsin. A lot of them just aren't suitable for it.
Still, the ordinance there was based on a template created by the Last Wilderness Alliance, the same model ordinance being approved in communities all over the state. And that means the court's decision could have ripple effects.
So I think we've got a pretty complicated situation.
Until then, summer goes on. And Wisconsin's water war remains fluid.
A spokesperson for the Coalition to Protect Wisconsin Lakes says its 80 member organizations make it the largest coalition in the country aimed at restricting wake-enhanced boating. Still, wake sports enthusiasts here have a powerful lobby of their own. Both sides recently met with Wisconsin Senate President Mary Felskowski. She declined my request for an interview, but in a statement, the Tomahawk Republican tells Fox 6 she tried to find a compromise, but says there was no initial general consensus. Felskowski says the conversation will continue, and she adds that she plans to be, quote, a strong voice fighting for local control, end quote.
And she really needs to find a compromise. Her district is the North Woods. So she's got a lot of lakes up there dealing with this.
If she's going to do
issue.
Something, I think she needs to find that compromise for sure.
Absolutely. So we've heard, and you referenced it in the story, there's a lot of reference to the science of wake surfing. Anything new on that?
Really not at this point. I mean, we've heard a lot about both sides pointing to studies that kind of seem to support their own positions, but there is one highly anticipated study that is still delayed. The University of Minnesota is researching the effect of wake boats' downward thrust on lake bottoms. A university spokesman there last fall told me to expect the study to be published early this year. Didn't happen. Then she said sometime this spring. Now she says it likely won't be until at least the end of summer. Of course, Ted will keep watching for that. We'll let you know what we find, but nothing yet on that study.
I imagine this is an issue in Minnesota, the land of 10,000 lakes as well, just like it is here.
Absolutely, 100%.
All right, Brian Paulson, thanks for the follow-up on that.